just dominating the sunny states over 30s class. This is the Outside Gate with Steve Hall on the L4 Media Network. And for show 83, of course, I had to get the number 83. There's not many famous 83s out there because we've looked it up before. But in Australia, Trent Maher is the 83. How are you, dude?
Good, mate. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Trent's a bit crook, so forgive him if he does cough and gag a little bit there. But yeah, dude. So I was just saying, we a lot of my shows is sort of digging into people's lives and what they've done in the sport and that sort of thing. We've actually done that before. When I interviewed Trent I came on to take over his show and interview him on his show one time in the Moto Limited days.
Yeah.
And I think also probably quite a few listeners also kind of know Trent's story anyway. So we're going to just do a bit more sort of bench racing stuff tonight rather than dig too much into Trent's. But I guess in short, I've just got a few notes about you for those that might not know you. So yeah, junior racer through to national level racer, and then podcaster, live announcer, a dad, and now a TV guy. He's getting married. And he's even you'll even see 3 generations of Mars at the sunny states at the moment. So
Yeah.
yeah, Dad's back on the pit board, and then your young bloke's having a crack as well. So that's good to see. So real grassroots Aussie moto person and Aussie moto family. That about sums you up, doesn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. It's been an adventure. As you said, we've sort of done this before. I mean, a little bit's changed probably since we did that with the TV stuff sort of coming on board, which has been a huge learning sort of adjustment for me and learning that side of things, which has been kind of what I wanted to do from when I started the podcast stuff. So to be at that point, pretty cool. But yeah, it's been that, and then been back racing this year a little bit too, which has been fun having my young fella at the races. And I mean, he just gets out and I have no pressure on him at all. Like, I mean, if he did come to me tomorrow and said he didn't want to race it, I'd probably feel a little better about it because I'm nervous as hell. I don't know how my parents did it all the years they did with us, but and then Dad being back at the races, like he loves it. As you said, it's a bit of fun. So that's where we all start in this sport, and then at a point get to where we are right now, right, is we all fell in love with riding dirt bikes. And this year a little bit for me has gone back to that. I kind of really went hard for a lot of years trying to build what I'm sort of into now, but I miss riding a dirt bike. Like, I still to this day just love dirt bikes, love racing, watching racing myself. I mean, shoot, my class that I ride, a veterans class, you give me a bit of hard time about it.Got cancelled on the weekend. I just rode MX1. I went and raced against pro guys the next day because it was racing. So, I mean, I got smoked, but I just love riding my dirt bike. I'm at a track and my gear's there, my bike's there. I might as well go do something. So
yeah,
I think that gets lost a little bit too with some of us. Like, we get super jaded by what goes on, and you've probably spoken to a lot of these, a lot of your shows with a lot of these OG guys that probably got a bit jaded at a point and then found the love again. That's kind of a little bit where I've been on this last sort of 6 to 12 months, has been re-falling in love with it all again, and a little less of it being a job and more of it being like, hey, this is super cool to be where we are, right? Like at the races. And for you, getting to where you are and watching you from being a commenter and a contributor to the podcast that we started to now doing what you're doing here with these shows and being at the races and shooting stuff and writing stuff for Racer X. Like, it's so cool to see people that love this sport be in it and then get to see some of the cool stuff we get to see. And I mean, also some of the bad stuff we get to see as well, right? It's from what happened at Gilman, just the same sort of thing. And yeah, you get to see it all, but you're a part of a big family, which probably what come out of Gilman is how massive this motorcycling and motocross itself community is, and all the people and all the
Mm.
friendships that you make out of it. So, yeah, been a little bit of a journey this year, but I'm excited and yeah, look forward to being on the show. I mean, not too many famous 83s, but if you remember, Jet Lawrence did have his standout year, breakout year with the 83 on the bike. So I always claim to fame that the number helped.
That's it. Yeah. And
make Jet Lawrence.
someone had it this year.
Oh, Faulkner, but we won't talk about Faulkner. No,
Forky's year. It's not a good year for the 82
not a
this
good
year.
year. No,
But then again, he made it through a season. So
he did. So credit
it's
where
not
credit's
too bad.
due to the number. Yeah,
it's not too bad. That poor bugger, like what he's been through, Dan.
Oh,
like,
dude.
I'm just honestly, all I wish for that kid is just happiness.
Yeah.
He's had it rough, you know. Just enjoy his hot wife and his newborn baby, and just have some fun, kid. That's all I think for that kid. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty crazy. I've seen a reel come up the other day about the parallels between Sexton and him, Faulkner. Like a knee injury away, we could be talking about potentially Austin Faulkner not winning this championship over Cooper Webb, not Chase Sexton. Like that's how
crazy.
That flip on its head. It could be a completely parallel universe. We're talking about a different name in that position potentially.
Yeah.
So crazy, but yeah, good to see him. It looked rough at points this year, but he made it through the whole thing, which he hasn't been able to do. So as much as he didn't win or he didn't do that, like that's a huge win for him and I mean his family and everything, right? Like crazy what he's been through, and yeah, especially the brain injury stuff, like the surgery, that he had. That's to come back from that itself is probably the most mental thing.
It's crazy. It's crazy, man. Yeah. That's it. Yeah. Cool. Hey, we might get into, so for bench racing, I've got probably a bit more stuff about the Aussies, and then I've got a few things about what's about to happen in the States. And yeah, man. So I suppose the news, just very recent news is Nowra's off the schedule, and we're going to Canberra. So that'll be interesting, man. And my thoughts went to Canberra in July, man. Like,
yeah. Look, I'm not looking forward to that.
Bring the layers, man. Especially you guys from Queensland. Get yourself some thermals. It's gonna be fresh. Like, wow.
I had Nick send me the weather for even Traralgon next week or this weekend coming, and it's meant to be freaking cold there.
It'll be cold, yeah.
Yeah, look, I don't deal with the cold very well. Yeah, we've had a little change in the weather. I've already got sick from just the change in the weather up here. And
yeah,
I mean, the forecast for next week for us here in Queensland, we're a low of 27, so freezing.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's going to be cold. But Canberra, they were on the schedule, if you remember back, the half COVID year that we had.
21,
Yeah, so I raced there as a junior titles back in 06, and it was a different track when I watched it that year on television. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what they turn out. Very interesting, like this late in the game for Nowra to be out, and to change it to Canberra like that. So yeah, obviously I've heard a few things, but again, nothing.
Yeah, I've heard stuff,
concrete, but yeah, it's just a really odd change, and I think it's a for the sport here, not to get too deep in the sport here in Australia and tracks and clubs, like they're run by volunteers, so the volunteer group changes from when this gets told to them to now. It's huge, but I'm pretty sure Nowra's like a ride park facility.
Yeah, I believe
first and foremost. So I mean, that's a whole different kettle of fish as well. I've run races at ride parks, and they are with their own challenges as well, right? Because they're under a different set of rules for their tracks and everything. So it's hard to get tracks up. So I can imagine it'd be a magnitude of things, but yeah, just to be this late in the game to make that change is unique. But excited to go to Canberra. And
I can't remember what Canberra was like. Like I haven't gone back and looked at the 21 races or whatever, but I can't even picture anything about it. But
Yeah, they from memory they missed the mark with water. I remember it being I think it
okay,
was super dusty.
okay,
So it's a hard pack kind of
hard pack.
clay,
Yeah,
yeah, track, but they missed the mark with water last time. And I talked to a couple of people on the weekend that were there, and they're just like, I hope it's not that track again because it wasn't very good. But I think it was just more of a prep thing rather than the track. The layout looked pretty interesting from memory. But yeah, it's been a long time since even then. So to what it is now could be different. So yeah, intriguing. Mum's from Canberra, so I do have some family that live in Canberra. Probably
yeah,
won't see them because when we fly into all these places, it's
yeah,
track,
yeah. You don't, and
hotel,
you don't have
outing.
heaps of spare time,
No, no.
especially you with your TV stuff. Like, just
Yeah.
all go.
Saturday morning, I got a bit of time. I'm
Saturday
not
morning,
saying
you can
that.
chill a bit. Yeah,
Yeah, but I
yeah,
love.
yeah,
It comes back to the whole thing. I just love being at the track, regardless if there's anything going on. I'm
yeah,
at a dirt bike track. Especially for us Pro MX, get to see behind the curtain and how things are run. Like I just sit there like a sponge and take everything up, watch those guys do TV, which is, they've been doing it for so many years and they're so well oiled to watch them and just take notes of how they do their job, how then behind the scenes it all comes together. Like, yeah, I'm just taking what I can in. So as much as there's probably for me personally a lot of downtime that I'm there just learning. So yep,
yeah.
it'll be fun. I'm looking forward to going to Canberra, but yeah, interesting change, that's for sure.
Yeah, man. Have you been to Traralgon before?
No, I haven't been there. Seen some pictures, and it looks could be a cool track.
Yeah,
Again, it comes down to prep with a lot of these places too, right? Like they get the prep right, the track will be cool, but if they get the prep wrong, it kind of changes the racetrack. We've seen that at Appen, like Appen
yeah,
wasn't the greatest last time we were there, but this year was probably, like one of the better tracks this year
yeah,
so far, right? So,
yeah. That's right.
um,
Yeah,
and we got a couple coming up too here in Queensland, like Warwick. I mean, that's where I was on the weekend, and that's around a Pro MX, and like rain hurt them a lot, but so I can't really judge that track that we had this weekend, but the tracks we've had previous to that, like they have a fair bit of work to do to get them raceable,
yeah.
to a Pro MX standard.
Because
So
you've had so much rain up there. Yeah, that's the
well, they've been the ones I've done have been prior to all that as well. So it was more on the drier side,
okay.
and shallow too.
Yeah,
Like not very ruddy, not very deep, not very quite dusty.
yeah,
Where on the weekend it was just a soup pit and was actually
yeah,
the gnarly. To be honest, like if that was a Pro MX track, it probably would be it'd be a mutter, but it come good enough that they could race. I mean, to be honest, I rode in MX1 and Webster and Beaton just on a whole nother level. And when they went
yeah,
past me, they were running a different track to what I was. I was like,
yeah,
this
yeah,
is no boys, where this track's gnarly, and they're just floating around. But it
yeah,
got good to where I was like, it was a really good racetrack. It was single line, which made it hard, but it was from everyone said that watching those two boys battle it out on a single line track, it was very interesting. So
mm.
I watched them for about 0.2 of a second, Steve, when they lapped me for the
When
second
they
time.
when they went past,
Um,
there's no
they're
shame in
crazy.
that, man. That's for
Nah,
sure. No shame in that.
hey, there were some good dudes who got lapped once by them. So I'm like,
Yes, man. Yeah,
I'm like two times. Yeah, I'm not supposed to be in that class. So, but no, there's tracks that'll be there. So Traralgon, back to your topic. Yeah, like the dirt looks pretty cool. Looks like it's like a sandy loam,
yeah, yeah.
with a bit of a
It's
clay.
Gilmanish
Yeah,
from what I can get.
with a hard base. Yeah,
Hard
so
base, hard
yeah,
base. Yeah,
so I'm interested in seeing quite a little bit of elevation too, which is cool.
little
So
bit. Yeah,
yeah, looking forward to it. Something new. Yeah, we've been to a lot of these tracks before, but new ones are always fun and exciting. But they come with the challenges as well, of the unknown of everything of how it's going to be. So that probably makes it a little interesting as well as what are we going to see. But when it comes to racing, I mean, it's been pretty much the same every round so far. We've seen the same guys at the front of every class. So
it is, man. But it's been good though, hasn't it? Like it's been good, even though there's kind of two guys in each class that are really,
yeah,
that's the story.
yep.
We've got a red bike and a blue bike in each class.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
That's sort of it. But it's been good racing, especially MX1 has been, really good. Like just seeing those two go at it, it's crazy, man. So yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't been to Traralgon for I reckon I can't. It's like a decade, man.
Yeah,
So
right.
I think believe the track's changed a lot. but it was a good facility. Yeah, the only thing I was worried about when I saw Traralgon was how the car park situation was going to go. But apparently
Okay.
they've got the farm across the road.
Okay.
So
Well,
perfect, because
yeah.
that's like the only thing I could think of that wasn't good last time.
Okay. So kind of tight parking wise and
Yeah, or more so just sort of
general
it's got a
fan.
kind of bit narrow getting in, and then the space of the car park. If you're going to put a heap of semis in that in there, I was just sort of thinking like, whoa, I was just envisioning bottlenecks on Sunday morning, But if they're peeling off spectators and that up across the road, it'll be mint then. That'll solve all that problem. So I think otherwise should be really good. So
yeah.
um,
Well,
yeah,
it could be worse. You do have Toowoomba coming up, bud, and trust me, that is the worst pit area in all of Australian motocross. It
yeah,
is so tied up on that hill there to fit all those trucks and semis and then general fans and a lot of walking too for for the general fan to get around and see everything.
Yeah. Also, too, Traralgon's pretty close to the like the bogan capital of at least Victoria, if not Australia,
Oh,
Morwell. So Traralgon's got a pretty good bogan factor too. So bring
jeez.
bring your flanny and your moccasins, man. That you'll fit right in if you go out in Traralgon.
Not me,
Pick
mate.
it
Should be
up.
dinner in bed. Dinner in bed. I'm staying away from
That's
the
it.
nightlife in Traralgon.
Yeah, that's it, man. Yeah, she's it's not a bad joint. It's just and that's probably an old reputation that's not even true. It's just like Morwell used to just cop it. Morwell's kind of the little city that's little town that's not far from Traralgon, but that general area used to really cop it as the where all the bargains come from. So I'd fit right in, hey. So
straight in.
that's it. Yeah, man. Yeah. So the question is, man, well, there's kind of two questions, and I couldn't figure out which way to put it. But can Jed stop the bleeding? Is one way to put it, and the other way is, can Webby get this thing done?
I guess they answer themselves, right? I mean, on the weekend, take anything out of the weekend, Jed did go 1-1 and beat Kyle in both. But dude, they're just so equally matched at the moment.
Yeah,
It seems like to me that Kyle, with that big crash at Wonthaggi, really lifted the weight off his shoulders a little bit,
yeah.
where he's like, hey,
Nothing to lose.
I've lost it all already, so I might as
Yeah,
well just go
so
out
just
and win.
go
Yeah.
out swinging. Yeah, that's it.
Yes. So, and that's kind of how he's been riding, like
Yeah, very much.
since then he's got all, the last two top 10 pole shootouts, which Jed was on a freaking streak of 12 of them or whatever in a row.
Yeah,
So he's got them, he started taking them away from Jed. He's beaten him in every moto so far that we've had since Wonthaggi. So you can tell that's on there, but yeah, on the weekend, they were back battling it out. And from what I heard, again, I was in the race, not watching it, which makes me a bad journalist, I guess, at a point. But Kyle did make a pass, but it was pretty aggressive and pushed him off the track, and he gave the spot back, and Jed ended up winning. So it probably would have went either way. But Jed won the first one, and Kyle crashed like 3 times in the first one or something like that, he said. So Jed would have won overall anyway, regardless of it. But he looked fast again, but then again, when they went head to head, Kyle, potentially could have won the race again. So, dude, they're just a state level racing at these nationals. They're so equally matched.
Yeah.
But I think at the moment is the the red plate on the 14. He's been managing that, but I believe he's got to now turn the switch off of like managing it. Kyle's got this thing, nearly to single digits in 2 rounds. He's got to go, right, I can't just keep letting him win. I've got to start putting some wins against him, or tying him on points for the
That's all he's got to do.
for the
He's
weekend.
just got to tie it up. Just got to go, just win. If he wins one moto, if he goes 1-2.
Yep. That's all he needs. Yeah, just to stop to stop it, 3 points, 3 points, 3 points to the point where we're back within the tight championship we seen last year. So I think Traralgon for him is got to be that. I mean, it's a halfway point as well. Once we finish the weekend, it's a halfway point of the championship. I think this is a very crucial round for for Jed
It is, yeah.
to see where this championship runs. So as you said, like they kind of can Jed stop the bleeding? He has to. It's not a thing. Can he? He
Yeah,
has
yeah,
to. If he doesn't, he's losing this championship
yeah.
again. But and then can Kyle keep winning? And he has to. Like they both have
Mm,
to do each one. So it's just who can actually talking about 1%. Who can be that 1% better
mm.
on Sunday this weekend? You know, that's why we get to go racing. So yeah, I'm excited to just keep watching this championship. Again, it sucks that it's two guys again, and that gap is somewhat shrinking, but still
Yeah,
is kind of gnarly. How much further out front they are than everyone else, and how easy it is for them to potentially find themselves in that position
yeah,
in those opening laps. So I'm hoping that gap shrinks a little bit too to throw a bit more in there. And as a Kyle Webster guy as well, I want to see him chew a few more points out if he can, and some bikes going between them and tighten this thing back up. Because again, like talked about this a lot, that final race last year at QMP, it was just out of this world. Like to literally finish tied on points in the final moto and get it on a
yeah,
count back of
yeah,
wins. Just crazy. Like we all finished the race like we're still trying to get information as the race was going on, like who was going to be champ, and
yeah,
luckily enough, I had that weekend was Cam Williams was doing the trackside and reporting
yeah,
for TV, and he had TV in his ear. We were getting MA direct, line of communication. He was telling me what was happening so I could tell the
yeah,
crowd, because I'm like, at the moment, according to my calculations, it's tied. The championship's tied, but
yeah,
how are they going to decide this thing? And then, he was getting it. So to have a championship like that's always cool. So you want to see that continue into this year as well and just be that. But you want 3 or 4 guys in that position, right? Where you're kind of
yeah,
coming down the last race and you're like, this is just all similar to what we've seen at, in East Coast Supercross this year, right? Like
yeah.
3 dudes at the last round. It's just whoever
It's
wins
awesome.
gets
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
it's the
So
best. That's what any sort of neutral fan, that's what you want. Like,
yeah.
unless if you got your super favorite or something, yeah, then you don't mind if they run away or whatever. But
Yeah.
I think the older you get too, you don't really have those favorites like that. You're more just,
We
want a
shouldn't.
good race. Yeah.
We
I mean,
shouldn't. I do.
I
But
still have favorites,
yeah.
but I don't sort of, in the end, I want a good. I Even my favorites, I don't want them to run away with the
No.
championship.
Well,
I
yeah,
want
well
them to
that
win it in the last corner,
well that
like
that for me is the thing, right? Like, it's well documented that, I really Kyle and I have a pretty cool relationship, and
yeah,
I do want him to win, but I do like I said, like I wanted to, but like last year probably was a little tight for my liking. But like I want him to just win the championship. As long as he wins, but just then the media person in me, the storyteller, I want it to be tight. So
yeah,
it's interesting for us to
yes,
do our job. So yeah, as long as it's by he gets it done, I don't care how he gets it done, as long as we can then have fun with it along the way and do that. So yeah, Terralgan I think is going to be a massive, I guess a pivotal round of this championship
yeah,
or where it's going to go. If Jed can get some points back and put some points between he and Kyle, it's really going to make this thing
yeah,
interesting. But if Kyle takes some more out, it's going to be interesting as well. So, yeah, I can't wait to kind of break this down Sunday afternoon or Sunday night once we've seen it to
mm,
really start playing on these storylines because. Yeah, it's Warwick is the next round after that as well, and both those boys rode there on the weekend, so it's not like they're going into an unfamiliar track to either of them.
yeah.
But we're really starting to get into the nitty gritty. Once you get to Queensland, to me, like we're in those championship rounds in Queensland. Like
It's like in the
good.
States when they say like Daytona after
Yeah,
Daytona, like if you're going east, for us you go north, and
yeah.
shit's
Series
getting
starts
serious.
in Queensland.
Getting serious once you go north. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's it. Yeah. But
yeah.
it's true though, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's the back end of the championship.
Yeah.
Coming up to Queensland is the back end, so we're getting very close to that. Even though there's Canberra in between the 3
Yeah.
Queensland ones,
Yeah.
it's getting to that point. So yeah, MX1 class has been fun for a couple of years, And those two guys continue training partners, friends, and rivals. It is a very unique story between the two of them, and how they can switch it off, go racing, do what they do, and then come back and they're buddies and train all week. And crazy how they can do that
Yeah, I
dynamic.
think it's kind of unusual that they're both kind of fairly mild mannered, sort of nice guys, aren't they? There's not, they both have their moments where there's a bit of fire in the belly, but they're not, they're reasonably mild mannered guys, So I guess that's, that's how they managed to do that. Yeah.
I feel like Jed definitely came back from Europe with the fire in the belly. It's still there. You can still see it.
Yeah.
But I think it's, I don't know. I think because the relationship they had, like, I think he had more fire in the belly when he was going against Aaron Tanti for the first championship, right? Where they weren't. So he had a bit to say, and but it's hard when you got to go see the guy on Monday or Tuesday at the track. It's hard to mouth off and be that guy when you got to go see him on Monday and go training with them and riding with them. So
yeah,
I think that's what's, as I said, that you want we're enjoying the rivalry, but I think it is a little lackluster because they are buddies and there's no real tension. Like
it's not getting spicy.
No.
It's not like Wilbur and NATO a couple of years ago, where it was getting spicy. We haven't had much of that in the Aussies probably since then. That's probably the last time where we had this, like, whoa, what did he say?
And I mean, Clout had a little bit of it this year with the comment after round one.
Yeah, there was a bit of that. The minute sleep better at night or whatever it was.
And again, like that was the fire that I said Jed still has.
Yeah, it's cool though.
But I don't think everyone's been waiting for this rivalry between Jed and Kyle. I mean, it's been 2 years. It's not going to happen. If it didn't happen year one, maybe it could get spicy in an issue, because the story that I am following and keeping an eye on is, if Jed doesn't win this year, that's 3 in a row that he's been the bridesmaid and led the championship in those 3 years. Like, he'll be really soul searching to go, man, what have I got to do to win one of these things?
Yeah.
So if it gets to the point where that maybe it could, out of desperation, it could become, that rivalry could heat up, because he just like, I can't get second again. I can't be the bridesmaid for a 3rd year in a row. So that's where I'm like, it could happen. That's probably the point, but I mean, it hasn't happened at any point, and I don't think it will until he potentially gets desperate and goes, I gotta do something here, otherwise, I could be the bridesmaid. And for everyone who knows Craig Dack, like, he is all about rivalry. He is all about intimidation and getting in riders' heads and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So he could, Jed could be copping it from there as well, saying, hey, like, I don't care if you're going to go see him Tuesday, like, we're here to race Sunday. So there's a lot of factors here at play, but as I said, we're all just waiting. I feel like it's simmering, and we're just all waiting for it to boil. And once it boils,
you never know. You never know. Yeah. Who's gonna take a race off him? Who is it? Who's your money on? Who would your money be on that's gonna pinch a possibly a round win, but just pinch a moto?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. I mean, the two that really always come to mind is obviously Luke Clout and Nathan Crawford. They're the two. Crawford being a bit younger, he's the one on the rise. Year 2 of the 450. And to be honest, man, like, you were there at Gilman, race 1 of MX1. Clout's ride through the pack was
it was wicked. Yeah,
he was him, and I think if he'd problem is, if he'd got to start, I don't think he would have rode the way he did. He rode the way he did because he was coming through the pack. But he was as fast as Kyle at points in that race. Like, his lap times were on par with what Kyle was doing out front. And Kyle was riding a different race.
It might have been the bullet head with getting
a bit of speed.
That's probably worth a couple of tenths, down the straight. The bullet head. Yeah,
but he was fast. Like, he was visibly fast and riding
he was, man.
that track. So if that if he can uncork that with a good start, yeah, who knows? So I got to some hard pack tracks too coming up,
Yeah.
which really goes into the wheelhouse of both Crawford and Clout. So yeah, potentially one of those two guys I feel like could do it. But then you never know with motocross, right? Like couple of incidences and a good start from Kirk Gibbs and not running him down in
He's probably the
25
only
minutes.
other one he's probably the only other one, I guess, that you'd sort of think, well,
Yeah.
could do,
I
but
mean, where's Purvis at? He's still trying to get healthy.
yeah.
Wilbur's always got speed, but man, that guy hasn't been able
He's
to
got to
stay
get
healthy.
healthy. He's
Yeah.
got to
So
get healthy, man. That's for
th-
sure.
there's other guys, but to me, if you ask me for two names, that they're the one. Clout and Crawford are the two that I think can, but really should. They're the next two in line. So see how they go.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, if I had to put my money somewhere, I'd say that that NATO pinches a race somewhere. That'd probably be where my money would go.
Moto one at Warwick, he was pretty good. He's stuck somewhat with Jed, so there's a little bit of insight.
Cool. The penalties, man. The other two classes we've been robbed a little bit, maybe, of a couple of cool things with these penalties. And it's my sort of thoughts on each of the penalties is they both had to happen, but they both feel harsh.
Yeah.
So yeah, but it's, I guess, particularly the MX3, it's kind of robbed us of a good battle, because it's put Kai in such a hole.
Yeah.
And I'm just devastated for the team, for the mechanic, for the whole deal. Like, it's just like, man, like it just sucks, like.
Yeah. It's a tough one, and rules are rules, right?
Yeah,
and
man.
I get it.
Yeah,
But,
rules are rules. Yeah.
To me, like I looked at that one and I was like, it's hard because you can't have rules in place and then modify them per class, but I feel like MX3, like that's the learning class, right? And I know there's quote unquote factory teams that run in that championship, but there's got to be an air of like, okay, maybe we won't disqualify you, which is the rule. Maybe we'll take so many championship points off you because, again, like Kai Woods is panicked. The mechanics panicked. They're all, young in the game. I don't know who the mechanic was that.
No, I'm not sure.
That he has at WBR, and I will endeavor to find that out this weekend. But I'm pretty sure it's one of the new young fellas they got working for the team, not one of the experienced mechanics that they've had. I could be wrong, but again, like he's probably a fresh mechanic, not 100% sure on the rules.
And imagine the panic,
just the panic,
mechanic,
a
full panic.
Yeah,
I've got this points leader kid. He's like, I've got to just rush in there and do what I've got to do. Like it's,
and I think the
just
other
feel bad for him.
Other rounds too, like the mechanics are standing right next to the starters box at Gilman. Other tracks, they're well out of the way, so you would never have a chance to do it at a different round. So that's the other thing. Like he's right there. Kai's the inside gate. Mechanics are all standing off to the side of that start gate area there. Once the gate drops, they cross the track and go to the mechanics area. So he's just instinct jumped in, and that's where I'm kind of like, it's harsh, but it is a rule, but it's also a lot of circumstances that go into it. So, I mean, he's got to dig his way out of that hole, and it'll test the character of Kai Woods.
Because it's a lot of points up. What is it? It's like,
well, he would have lost at least 25 because Cade won the race. So, and then Cade beat him in the next one. So to be further than that,
he's like 22 points down now. So
because I didn't know what the lead was going in, but that's So I mean, he's basically a full race behind, which is what he got disqualified. So tough for him, but it is what it is. And then the Connolly one to me is, I mean, the penalty itself is irrelevant at this point. It was kind of, I've talked about it as the handling of the the
Yeah,
aftermath
okay, yes.
was more my issue, I believe, and a lot of
Yeah,
people's issue was the handling of it and the
yeah, it
way it
was
all
handled bad, yeah,
the shakeout of it. The penalty is whatever. Like,
yeah.
at the end of the day, all
I
it
feel
really
the
did
penalties I feel the penalty is a bit harsh though too,
yeah, I
but
mean,
I guess that's probably what the penalty is in the book, so
yeah,
you
it
gotta do what
is.
you gotta do.
Yeah, it
Mm,
is the rule. Again, it's he off the track. I mean, there's a lot of angles, and you can discuss that to the cows come home. But I think the biggest issue was the handling of it post race and everything that went on, and you know appeals and all that sort of stuff. We got an answer now.
yeah,
It's withheld and got everything because again, to me, it robbed Ryder Kingsford of that podium. You
mm,
know, that standing on the top step podium, which he got at Gilman anyway. So
yeah,
it
yeah,
worked out anyway
worked out,
for
yeah.
him. But it sucked at the moment. So, and again, if that was potentially his only race win of the year, that would have really sucked. So that's more where I was going with it. Like, is you robbed the dude of his place, right? A rightful place atop of the podium by switching it all around and
Mm,
reversing the decision and that was more my point was like, if he hadn't have won, but then he won at Gilman, so it all just was basically for nothing. Like I really, at that point, I seen the release come out of the appeal got denied and it was staying as Kingsford got the win and the penalty stuck. And I was like, I don't really care. Like I did not care at that point of what it was. It was because it all worked out in the end anyway. But yeah, I mean, it's made it more interesting, that MX2 class, which it needed because at a point there, I mean, Brody Conley's talking about perfect seasons, and I'm like, dude, we can't have one of them. I mean, we can't sit through a perfect season
yeah,
in MX2. We had a lot of years of Wilson Todd just dominating that
dominating.
class. I don't want to go back to Wilson Todd domination type
Mm,
again, which, hopefully Brody gets a ride overseas, which is what he's gunning for.
yeah,
So we probably won't see him much after this year, potentially. Who knows? But yeah, it's cool to see Ryder Kingsford taking a step and making this a championship fight now, so we can all we got everything, all classes to talk about, and two Kingsford brothers on opposing bike brands leading
yeah, that's right.
in two championship battles is pretty cool as well. Like
Yeah, yeah,
I think it'd be a while, been a while since we've seen two brothers like that here in Australia, kind of
yeah,
doing
yeah.
what
It'd be
they're doing as
interesting.
well.
It'd be interesting to figure out when that was. It's probably the Mosses.
Yeah, well, it definitely would
Probably,
be definitely
probably.
would be the Mosses, but I don't know if they
Yeah,
dominated, like they were in two
if that was
championship
both. Yeah,
battles, at the same time. Maybe
yeah,
MX2 and under 19s, because I know Jake got an
yeah,
under 19s title, but I don't know if Matt won the MX2 that year or not. I'd have to. That's a long time ago, but like we're
yeah,
talking about
yeah.
that
And
oh
also too,
09 or
like it's something that annoys me is so
Pick-
hard to look up Aussie results, man.
yeah.
Like
I was
you
waiting for
you
you to
you want to
go there.
know who farted on lap 6 of at Southwick in
Yeah,
the States in 1979. Like you
yeah.
can look it up. But Aussie stuff, like, yeah, man, you got to have a
Nah,
good memory because you won't find it.
it
It's annoying, isn't it?
Yeah, it's super annoying. It's funny though because now um, being a quasi part of the TV team for motocross, like obviously have spent a bit of time with Denny Ham and Lee Hogan, in car trips because some of these tracks are not close to the airport. Just
Yeah,
FYI, but it's cool because I just picked their brains about
yeah,
and they were in racing at the same time, but Lee's a little bit older, so he
yeah,
has a little bit older stuff that I can draw from. Then they have the same sort of era stuff, and
yeah,
then obviously Lee's just been in it his whole life still, with the TV stuff. So
yeah,
I kind of picked their brains of what they can remember, especially of the earlier, I mean, 90s is, late 80s for Lee, early 90s and 90s to 2000 with Denny, like I try and pick their brains about things that I remember and learning about the sport too, like, because our sport here in Australia is so weird, like Pro MX or the MX Nationals for so many years was like the main racing, right? And
mm,
Supercross has kind of been this weird stepchild that hasn't really
yeah.
been around in our lifetimes. Had so many different promoters and all the
Different
stuff we've been through.
promoters and
Yeah,
racing on tennis courts and
yeah, but
and
but
and showgrounds and
yeah,
like, yeah,
but the 90s into 2000s, Supercross was
Yeah.
massive here in our country, and motocross
Yeah.
was there was Mr. Motocross, and then there was
Yeah.
another thing, and there was so many different races, and it didn't really make up a national championship, but it did. But it was all this weird stuff. So it's been cool learning those
Yeah.
intricacies. And to me, like, I thought that the Supercross Masters was the Australian Supercross Championship
Yeah,
at
yeah,
the time,
that's the one that throws people out.
but
Yeah.
it wasn't. It
Yeah,
wasn't. But
it was a side. It was like
yeah, a sideshow. Yeah, like,
it was the rival series kind of thing.
yeah,
Yeah,
to the Australian Supercross Championship,
that's
which was a
right. Yeah,
different championship that wasn't
yeah.
televised or anything, but because Spokes Promotion did such a good job of putting that on TV, that's my childhood, is watching
Supercross Masters. Yeah,
Supercross Masters. I had every round recorded to tape from Channel 10, like, and
yeah,
I'd watch them all the time. And so that's what you do here is, talk about a lot of that old stuff. And that's kind of, I said, sometimes I'd like to put a recorder on in the car while we're
yeah,
doing that, because it's like, for me, I'm learning so much about sport, because we don't have any documentation really of, there's some guys that out there that are doing it and putting information out, but there's no catalog that you can easily look up, like you said, the RacerX
yeah,
Vault or
yeah.
whatever. So
And,
easy to
I
go
mean, it
find
would
out.
take someone a lot of work to do it,
Oh,
but geez,
100%.
we'd all be very grateful if someone did.
Yeah.
If
Well,
someone wants to
yeah.
do it, that'd be pretty cool.
A lot of us historians probably would. I don't think the general fan would really
Yeah,
care,
yeah,
but
yeah,
guys like us that want to know about the early days. And again, like, I'm a '90s baby, so even pre that, even the '90s stuff is probably,
yeah,
like, I'm early 2000, late '90s, early 2000s is when I can actually remember, riding and racing and that sort of stuff. So even the early '90s stuff, I would
yeah.
really struggle knowing well, but I love to learn about it. So that's why I always kind of
Yeah,
ask.
so
So
it's funny. I remember the older stuff better. Like, I
yeah,
remember I got Mr. Motocross pretty locked down. Like
yeah,
the whole lot. Like, I'm not going to try and do it now because I'll stuff it up. But I could, yeah. If you gave me 5 minutes, or not even a couple of minutes to prepare, I could reel off every winner, just like bang, 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 bang. Like,
well, that should be
but,
you, mate. You should be putting the catalog together
but,
for us to go
but then
through and look at.
and it's funny, but that actually Mr. Motocross, because of oh mate, because of Roscoe, that is pretty
Yeah,
well documented.
yeah, yeah,
He's done all of that. But then sort of after that, it's sort of when it gets hit and miss, like your
yeah,
Supercross Masters, all that sort of that '90s stuff. It is sort of
yeah.
hard to pin down. And there was different promoters and different things going on, and so it does get a bit
Sounds like the modern Supercross era at the right now it's very good, I should say. Last
yeah.
couple of years have been very good, but pre the last
It has
couple of
been very
years,
good the last couple of years.
yeah,
Yeah,
it was a bit of a show. So
yeah. I was actually saying with some guys recently, like, think about I think it's only 3 years apart from the debacle at Wagga
yeah,
to last year at Marvel.
yeah,
That's your closing rounds.
yeah,
Now, is that you can't possibly have two more different events than those two? Like,
yeah, yeah.
probably just absolute shit show to as they were saying, and I can't argue, probably the best Supercross that we've ever held. So
yeah, for sure.
in a short space of time, so they're doing good, but they're doing now, yeah,
Yeah, I mean it and it's a huge undertaking by AME to take the rights to Supercross, and
mm,
as a private promoter, and they're basically putting their necks on the line, right?
yeah,
To do it. So it took them a bit to grow into doing what they're doing now, and I'm glad they are. But
yeah.
it is crazy to think we went from Wagga, 3 years ago
Three,
to
I think, yeah,
to Marvel Stadium, and
yeah.
um, just what that
How
OzX
good that
Open
was!
was.
Like, that was
Yeah,
unbelievable.
crazy. So
Yeah,
it's been a ride, but as I said, like, yeah, I'm probably a very biased, obviously, with my opportunity that I had at Supercross last year
yeah,
to say it was the best, but it definitely is, and that team is a small team of people that at AME that put these things together. But dude, they they put on a show, that's for sure. And
they really did. Yeah.
There's a lot of moving parts for again, it's cool because I doing motocross now, it's a different animal in itself, but to see the difference between the two, the moving parts between the two, because Supercross is a show every which way you put it, right? Like there's a live crowd show that you're putting on, then there's a television show that you're putting on. Where Pro MX there's an element of a show at the races, but at the end of the day, they are
it's
motocross
pretty much
races.
People are just rocking up to the fence.
Yeah.
Like there's not, once you've checked their ticket, there's not much else you got to worry about.
No, they're sitting in a chair or standing against a fence line in heat or cold or whatever it may be. Where Supercross, you're in a stadium, you got chairs and all the stuff. So I said they are two different animals, but the TV's a lot bigger. In a sense of like a lot longer time frame that you're on television for motocross. So there's a lot of behind the scenes for TV that goes on to try and make that whole production what it is. So there's just so many moving parts to both things, and that's what's been the most exciting part. But the team at AME, and even for me now, the team at MA, they're small teams, both of them. You'd be surprised the amount of people that put these events together. Like, I think that's a part that I haven't really spoken probably about heaps publicly, and don't know if I'm going to get in trouble for it, but they're small teams, man, but they do a lot with a little. Like, I believe people would think that there is a lot more staff to put these events on than there actually is, both series to me. Then when I tell them how many people are actually there, that do work for the companies, you're like, really? It's like, it's crazy how much they get done. There's a lot of obviously people that do a lot of the work in a sense, but the figurehead, so to speak, or the ones managing it all, there's not that many, and they're trying to juggle a lot of balls at one time. So I see a lot of them with stress on their face, and I'm like, I don't want to.
It's not a job I would ever want anything to do with. That's for sure.
And I did a little bit of it for the last 2 years with just the state level stuff here, and man, even at that, like, I mean, I wear a hat now all the time because I lost a lot of hair, I think, in that time period from all the stress of trying to run events. So those guys are at a whole different level to that. So I couldn't imagine the stresses that they're under. But yeah, that both series are cool, and it's going in the right direction right now. So I wish we could look back and get a bit more information about what it was like, so we can talk about that too, because that's always fun.
Yeah, nah, that sort of thing, man. I've been involved in running Vic off-road events.
Yeah.
And that I don't know that's anything I'd ever want to do again. I think it was fun. You get a sense of achievement when you have a good event, but you also get a feeling of just being crushed when you have a bad event. So it's a love-hate relationship, but
don't ever read the comment section either, because that could get you down quickly. So,
but as far as moto, I only just club moto stuff, which is like and that's pretty low stress. But that's it. No, that sort of thing's not really my bag. I'd rather be talking about it and writing about it and that sort of stuff than organising it.
Yeah, a lot easier. Trust me.
That's it, man. Righto, it's time for an ad read. Guts Racing, gutsracing.com. That's a real easy website to remember. You guys know that Guts makes seat covers. They also make complete seats, seat bases, seat foam, including the ultralight seat foam, custom seats with wide wings, with bumps, 2 tall seat options, Velcro fitment covers, the optional ballistic material, covers for ATVs, covers for Cirons, and an incredible range of colours. If you can think it, they will have it. As used by Ken Roxon, Jed Beaton, Malcolm Stewart, Luke Clout, Kai de Wolf, and our guy Scott Meshy, who says they are a butt gripper and they will make you a ripper. And get yours at gutsracing.com. That's a real easy website to remember. gutsracing.com. Cool. Hey, we might talk a little bit about. So obviously we've got the outdoors starting in the States this weekend,
Yeah.
and off the top, I'll put the pressure on. Who's your title picks? They might be kind of easy. Let's be honest, but
I think 250 is easy. I mean, it's going to be hard
yeah,
to go past Hayden Deegan, right? Defending
yeah,
champ.
true, yeah,
Dominated the back end of Supercross. So
yeah.
I think he's hard to go past for
Outdoors,
that.
especially, yeah, he's very good outdoors.
Very good, yeah. But man, 450s is throw it up in the air. I mean, you got to give. I always say you got to give respect to the previous champion.
The
So
champion, yeah,
Chase has got to have a nod, and he's probably the most prepared out of
you'd think
everyone.
so. Yeah,
Not prepared, probably not prepared because really,
as far as
Eli,
like gate drops and
yeah,
he's warmed
racing,
up. He's warmed up. You know.
race fitness. You know,
Yes.
he
Yeah.
should be right. Race IQ, all that sort of stuff. He should be. That's where I think he's more prepared, but outdoor prep wise, like obviously he's behind, say
Yeah.
Eli and Jet is, and even Hunter.
Mm.
Probably Jet. I don't know. It's hard to get a gauge because he shouldn't really be back riding from that knee injury, but
Yeah.
somehow he's managed to get himself right and he's going to be there. But
He could be too. He could be just like looking at like, let's just
correct.
get some points to start.
Yeah,
You know,
which he could, or
ride
he
his
could.
way into it, and go out there. Because I mean, Jet with one leg's getting
Yeah.
a fifth.
For me, it's hard because you could have that Jet or you could have the Jet that just comes out and wins.
Yeah.
Like off a thumb injury like he did at the
Yep.
SMX. Like it's so hard. So I this is just going to be an easy throwaway pick, I guess you could say, is Chase just because he's a defending champ and he deserves some recognition for that. But man, what a year, like what a series. If we can keep them all healthy,
Oh.
Eli, Jet, Hunter is being good outdoors, Chase, Coop, who knows what Coop's going to do
Yeah.
outdoors off the back of this
Yeah.
Supercross championship.
J
Coop,
Coop's going to be pretty good,
uh,
and then also you got Prado,
and Prado
like,
back, yeah,
which
yeah,
you don't know what he's going to be like. Like you
yeah.
really don't know.
Well, he should be prepped outdoors because he has been back on the bike for a while and just doing outdoors. So, man, who knows? So, for me, this is probably the most excited for pro motocross I think
Yeah.
I've been in a long time just for 450s.
Same, yeah. For
Because
450s, it's cool. Yeah.
yeah, it's so stacked. And if, like Supercross, we all were so excited about Supercross and then it kind of fell apart quickly for us.
Yeah.
But
So hopefully we don't get the injuries.
yeah,
That's the thing.
hopefully this one it can stay together and we get 11 rounds of these guys just sending it outdoors and two motos of epicness each round, and at all these iconic venues as well, which is part of the fun. But so I think that's going to be me, Steve. I can't really pick 450. I'm just going to say Chase because it's an easy one.
Yeah.
But 250s, I think it's very easy to
Yeah.
see Hayden Deegan do that. But there will be some challenges. Kitchen's back. And then the likes of hopefully Chance Hymas is a better than he was in the last couple of rounds of Supercross. But he had got some good results last year in motocross. Masterpool's back. There's a bunch of names too, but yeah, I think Hayden's going to have when these riders get to the back end of their 250 career and they just they have everything put together. I think he's at that point now where he's like, he's finally ticked that Supercross championship, and he's like, right, I've won everything now. Won Supercross, SMX twice. Yeah, like just
I can see him making it boring.
Yeah, step back, boys. Hold my beer. I'm just gonna go handle business.
So,
yeah, and I'll beat you all at SMX. I'll get another Supercross championship, and then I'm gonna go check out that 450 outdoors in 26. So
yeah,
I that's how I see it kind of playing out for this. But again, injuries and stuff can happen. But it just seems like most of these guys, when you see them at the back end of their 250 careers, they just start winning everything and they've got it all kind of figured out. And they're like on their way out the door, they're just trying to like leave destruction in their path. And as we've seen with Hayden, he loves this drama and this ego and putting it on. So I think that's what he's going to try and do out the gate. I think he's going to try and wax the floor with them outdoors. He's going to try and wax them again in Supercross and be just like,
go and buy another Lambo.
Yeah, light the match, turn around, flick it into the pile heap of riders he's left, and just burn them all to the ground. Like that's you can see it. It's written on Brian's vision board in his house, and that's what he's got scripted up for Hayden. So, it's fun. I love talking about that stuff. I mean, I haven't really talked about American stuff for a while. I've got a lot of takes on this stuff. It's been a minute.
Hayden, like I know a lot of people don't like him. I like him. There's things that he does sometimes that I don't like, but I like him. He's entertaining, man. But most of all, I like watching him ride.
Oh,
fuck, man, when he's on, like especially when he's on outdoors, man, he's great to watch. Fantastic.
Yeah. He's got that little loose style, just sends it. But yeah, you're right. Like there's stuff like, but again, like I hear a lot of it, and it's like, oh man, like it's this soap opera. Good. I don't want to hear like, I'm sorry, but Julian Beaumer just not answering the question. Like poor JT, and I've been privileged enough to work alongside JT. He's a rad dude. Poor JT trying to interview that guy, getting nothing out of him, not even answering his question, and looking through him like he doesn't exist. Like Beaumer's a good rider, and that annoys me. That actually annoys me more than the dribble that Hayden can come out with sometimes. Like I prefer to hear dribble, but it's actually something, to listen to, than Julian Beaumer just like, I'll get him next week. We're going to be good. I'm good. We're good. Let's see you there. We'll see you at the next round. Okay, cool. Let's not even go to him. I'll skip your interviews every round now. So, hot take that one. But that to me.
I like Juju until Salt Lake. Now I don't like him. So I don't like him anymore.
I think you better say until he talks.
Just the whole deal with
he didn't make any friends with the Hammaker thing.
Because I really wanted Seth to win. Well, I really wanted Mitch to win.
I think it's a pro circuit Cowie thing. You got your pro circuit shirt on, mate.
Yeah. I wanted Mitch to win, man. Like, Seth, I like Seth's a nice guy in that, but I wanted Mitch to win. I wanted the Cowie to win. So, I'm still pissed at Juju and RJ. And RJ's like one of my favorites, man. So
I can't go with the hate on RJ. He had to do that. So I'm annoyed at him. Yeah, it's annoying. It's like, damn it, dude. But it's a bad move. If it works out, he's the champ, right? Or potentially the champ. But hey, Steve, let me just. I've been dying to say this about RJ Hampshire.
Yeah.
Can you go back and you will do this? I know you will. Go back and watch every one of his attempted takeout passes he's ever done in his career. I reckon he's at a 90% success rate. I mean, not success rate, failure rate.
Failure rate, yeah.
He cannot do aggressive block. Yeah. Remember the slide in the mud?
That's the one I'm thinking of straight away. That's one of my favorite.
This weekend, there's more of them. I know there's more of them. I haven't gone back. When it hit, it registered to me that every time RJ tries to make an aggressive move like that to put a rider on the ground, he ends up on the ground with the rider. He does not. No, I can't do what RJ Hampshire does at all. But he cannot make it. Like Hayden did a textbook one the week before on Cole Davies. Like, perfect. If he'd have done that to Seth Hammaker, he could have been the champ. But he doesn't know how to do that. He's never done it. He's never successfully completed one. So go have a look.
Yeah.
Go have a look.
I can't think of anything that proves you wrong. That's for sure. No. I can't think of anything that proves you wrong.
As I say, go have a look at when he's in that situation. He always ends up on the ground with the other rider. But 90% of the time, I would have put a 90% rate on it. Not all the time, but it's a larger majority of the time he ends up on the ground. And again, I didn't go back and look at everything. Like I just can remember it. It seems like
Yeah.
it just burnt into my brain somehow. And I'm like, if someone has the time, and hopefully one of your viewers or listeners has
Yeah.
the time and goes back, prove me wrong, please, by all means. But hopefully I am very accurate in that, because it just seems like it. And again, when you watch Hayden do a textbook one the week before,
Yeah.
it's not a good look either, where there's a guy that wins a championship by bumping a dude off the track.
Mm.
You needed to do the same, but you just did not judge it correctly, and
Just went in way too hot.
well, yeah, way too hot, way too much at the front end. If he body to bodied him,
Mm.
which what Hayden did, body
Yeah.
to body, elbow in, Hammaker goes off the track. He's buried in the cables and the shit that RJ was buried in
Yeah.
during the heat race.
Yeah.
He could be stuck there longer than he is trying to pick it up off the ground.
Hey, did you see or did you hear the French commentary of all that?
No,
Yeah, check it out. It's pretty awesome. Like, you don't know what they're saying, but they're excited.
no,
It's the only
Tortelli.
yeah, it's the
Tortelli on
only
the-
ones because like I can't even remember what the commentary said because I was just pissed off. Like I switched
Yeah.
off. I'm just like,
Yeah.
fucking, like. But then as someone released the French and they're talking about and RJ and Seth and all that. And then Tom goes by and they just go off. They're just going
realize
off.
what's going on. Yeah.
Because it's Tortelli and is DV one of them? I think.
Is it Marv part of the?
Yeah.
I can't remember. They had Tortelli.
DV might have just been on one of them, but yeah.
Yeah.
But Tortelli for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. At least there's the difference. They're so excited for their guy. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So I said it, and I think I've heard a lot of this too. Like it actually probably sucks for Tommy. Probably wants to go to 450, but I don't feel like Tom's ready for a 450. But winning that championship basically sealed his fate. Like he has to go to 450s now. So KTM probably are happy, but at the same time, like, oh, what are we going to do with him now? Because he has to go 450. So yeah, it's a very interesting. It was very interesting final round, and as you said, I was kind of cheering for Hammaker too a little bit. I think he really come in strong at the back end of the championship, started winning and putting it together.
He was the best. He was the best guy at the end.
And man, like he gave it everything. And what we'll never see on TV is the mistake he made coming into the whoops on the final lap. Like he was there. If he doesn't make that mistake, we could be.
He's spoken about that. Yeah, he was on. He was on Dark Side Show, and he spoke about that. He said like he was thinking about those last two corners, and then he made that mistake, and he knew that. But like he was if that hadn't happened, he was like all in on those last two corners, like everything he had. So
he could have put the same move on, on Tom that he got put on him in that final corner. But Tom would have went to the inside, so it would have been that corner after the rhythm lane. Like he whoops into the rhythm lane, he would have had to have done it there. So, but we never see it because the TV cut away to Hayden winning.
To see Hayden over the finish line. 20 seconds in front.
Well, we had to,
nothing at stake. So,
they had to show that, but
yeah.
Anyway, it was an interesting championship. Both 250 classes were very interesting through the stretch, and then Cole Davies standout year for him, and unfortunately,
love it. Hated that how it ended for him, but loved what he did. Just the kid's amazing. I cannot believe the improvement.
Yeah. Well, to bring this thing around full circle, that Wagga one was where he had the massive crash that knocked him out of an Australian championship in the SX3 class.
Was it really?
Yeah. Yeah. He had a big, I didn't think he was walking away from the one he had at Wagga through the big rhythm lane. He's the only one pulling the big line through there in SX3.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean. Like, it's funny, like with the Lawrences and Jet, I got to see Jet grow up racing and seen a lot of what he does now back when he was a kid. I also seen a lot of Cole Davies Supercross skill back in that year because he was coming to Australia and he was racing SX3. And if you know who won that championship was actually Jack Mather, so I kind of wasn't so much going for Cole Davies because
because you're Jack's mate. Yeah,
well,
for sure.
I've known Jack since he was a kid, so I was kind of more going that way. Anyway, I was watching him, but he was just better than the whole SX3 thing, and it was only that big crash at Wagga. He would have been the SX3 champ in Australia, but again, it was the same thing. The whoops he was okay at, but better than the rest of the field. Not what he is now, but just dude, he was hitting the big lines. Like if there was a 3 out of a corner, he was 3 in to rhythm lane. He's 3 in, and hitting the big lines that that year was Max Anstey's year, right, in Australia, doing Max Anstey lines through the rhythm lanes and stuff. So you could see that this could have happened when he got there. Then obviously what he did at futures and stuff like that, like you could see the speed was there. He just had to put it together and it all worked out. So yeah, cool to see a New Zealander, which
he's I've talked to a lot of people and I'm everybody's pretty much on board that he's Australasian. So yeah,
he did
we've claimed him. We've claimed him. It's
always.
Like once they do good, we've claimed him. Yeah.
But New Zealanders aren't notoriously good at Supercross, so
it is. They've got a good list of very good motocross riders. There's a long list, very good. Like in fact, if you looked at their worldwide results, and you slice that up by population, it's incredible. The talent that's come out of that small country.
Yeah.
But not so much in Supercross. So this is pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, and to be trained by the last guy who was ever any good at it, with Ben teaching you how to do Supercross, like obviously it shows. But in saying that, here in Australia, Brodie Connolly is actually pretty good at Supercross. He had a pretty standout Supercross year this year. Had a lot of mistakes, which is what learning's about, but his first real Supercross season. So there's a little bit coming out of New Zealand, and obviously with Supercross growing in this part of the world too, we're going to see some talent start to develop out of here. But it's cool to see Cole sort of break out. I think he's going to be a guy for next year that everyone's going to be definitely having to look out for. Him and Hayden are probably going to be the two that everyone's try to dodge, but they'll be on each coast. I don't think you'll see them.
They'll put them on different coasts. Bobby will put them on different coasts to win both of them. Would be the plan, you'd think, for sure, unless sometimes things happen. You get a small injury right before A1 or whatever, and they change it in the last minute and that sort of thing. But man, good stuff. I might, towards the end of the show, man, I like to throw. I've got a bunch of like random questions here. Let me throw a weird question at you. I know the answer to that one, so I'm not going to. We've already discussed that at length. Here we go. This one I haven't asked for a while. So, who was the poster girl on Trent's bedroom wall? Like when I was a kid, it was all about Kelly Bundy from Married with Children. She was like she was the one. So who was it for you, man? So we would have been talking 2000s, like.
That's hard, man. That is a tough question. I wouldn't even know, to be honest. I'd have to.
You'd be nearly around like Britney era, wouldn't you?
Nah.
Not your speed.
I remember the one that probably stands out, and it's probably a little later. It's probably right. Can't remember when the movie came out, but the first Transformers with Megan Fox.
Oh, Megan Fox, first Transformers,
that's I think that's a little later than probably when you would think, but that I do remember her that movie. That probably got replayed a few times.
She was a big deal. It was a big deal at the time, man.
It was. So
she was,
but I never really had posters on the wall growing up. I did.
I say that I didn't have girly posters because I would have been too embarrassed of what my mum would think. But if I did have one, it would have been Kelly Bundy. So,
Yeah, I mean, as bad as it sounds, and as much as it sounds like I'm sucking up, I guarantee I had a Denny Hamley Hogan poster on my wall from Supercross. That
yeah,
100% going Supercross Masters. That were the only things that, as I said from the very beginning, man. Like as soon as I, Dad got me into dirt bikes, just riding when we were young, and then the first time I seen a motocross race, I fell in love, and that it's
yeah,
kind of been, you know, kind of my first love, right?
yeah.
So it's always just been about dirt bike. Even still now, you ask my partner, she would tell you I think more about bikes and racing than I do anything else. But you know, especially when I'm telling her I want to try and get a new bike and refresh the one I've been racing and get a fresh bike. And
You're
she's
liking
like,
the Honda, man? Did you
"Ah,
get another Honda?
yeah, 100%, yeah, 100%." Like I'm
You've
in love
always
with.
been a bit of a Honda guy, though, yeah.
Yeah, I grew up on, from sort of 85s through to transition on the big bikes was all on Honda,
Mm.
and then flirted between that and Yamaha, and been around all of them basically
And
since then.
your
Yep.
Cowie that you loaned me for a day. That was a good
Yeah.
rig. That was
Yeah,
I
that was a good
really
bike.
enjoyed that
Yeah,
bike. That was a
I
good
did
bike.
like that one.
Mm.
Yeah, just I've had everything, but I know I just always fall back in love with the Hondas, and then this new 25, like I've just, dude, I can't. I love riding. So when your bike is good, you love riding too. So but yeah, she would say the same, like, we got a wedding that we're getting planning for. And I'm like, yeah, but I could get this bike, I could sell the other one, and we could do a changeover, and it's only this amount of money. So always
The
justify
thing is,
it.
it's not just the bike though. It's all the other stuff.
Wow.
You get a bike and then you're like, oh, okay, so yeah. And
Well,
like
yeah.
you're a heavier guy like me, like well you're heavier because you're like tall and fit. I'm heavier for other reasons, but the but they're not sprung for us. So you got to get the suspension done, and then you want this and that and this and that to
Yeah.
get it all just how you like it and all that sort of stuff. So
Well,
the money doesn't stop with the bike. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, kinda. But for me, like, again, if I'm just buying the same bike, I'm just getting a new one. So a
you
lot of that
just put
stuff would move
yeah
over. So I'm not buying, but again, I've got to have one in the shed to transfer everything over to then put the stock stuff on the old one and sell it, sort of thing. So it's that transition of owning two bikes, and then
yeah.
at the end of it, we're only owning one bike, but it's trying to sell that
I thought Honda would have been looking after you a bit,
dream.
like
They do look
live
after me.
announcing and all the stuff you
Ah,
do, like
nah,
bit of a
they do.
what's the word what do they call like like RV and that ambassador?
Yeah.
Yeah, Honda ambassador. There you go.
Well, if
That's
Honda
it.
want to sign me up, I'm always down for ambassadorship. But no, they do, like, yeah, they help me out. Support me with obviously uh, deals on the bike, which is hard
Yeah,
to come by these days. So they do, and
yeah,
then obviously the team at Moto One motorcycles obviously facilitate it happening as well. So
yeah.
I do get support in that sense. I'm not going to sit here and say that I get nothing, but at the end of the day, if there's an ambassadorship role and they need me to ride a bunch of different bikes and have new bikes all the time, then I don't have to pay for them. I'm definitely down for that. So, but no, as I, every day of the week you buy quality. So for me, when I buy a Honda, I buy a quality bike. So, yeah, had no dramas with it. So see how it goes.
That's it. You don't miss the Suzuki with the BRFC, BRCF. No,
Yeah,
no, that's the fishing shop.
B,
What's
B,
it called?
BFRC.
BFRC.
Yeah, it's
That's
burnt
it.
into my freaking brain, Steve. I nearly buried that period of my life when I had to deal with that shock. But thanks for bringing that back to the surface for me. Uh, if it wasn't for that shock, that RMZ, like, I listened to, obviously big fan of Mathis and always still listen to his pods when
Mm,
I get time. Most of the time is when I'm cycling or something like
yeah,
that. And I listened to his Larry Brooks interview on that, and I'm just like, he's right. Like, the Suzuki is a freaking awesome bike. You just have to
yeah,
get rid of that shock, and
yeah,
everything else, and it's got a Kickstarter, which is whatever. Like,
yeah.
yes, I love pressing the button and going, but the Kickstarter is whatever, but it is actually
Yeah.
they are very good bikes. Just a shock's a piece of junk. You can get rid of that.
Yeah, I'd have one. It's just like my main bike. I prefer. I actually just prefer to ride moto nowadays, but I still like to get in the mountains and do some fair and control ride and that. And you got to have electric start for that. Man. That sucks with a kickstart. Man. Like, I've spent I spent a lot of years kickstarting bikes on the side of hills with short legs and all that sort of thing, man. And just not anymore, man.
No, not at all. I mean, I don't get out into the bush as much as I probably should, but it's hard. It's hard having these days. Back in the day, you used to be able to just ride your bike everywhere, but now they're
getting harder.
They're so specialized too. The bikes, like, I try to take mine out in the bush. I'm not gonna enjoy my life out there. It's way too stiff.
And it depends. Like, it depends what sort of ride you want to do. You know, like if you get into some Rudy Rocky shit like that with motocross suspension, man, it's not great.
I had a Husky 252 stroke that I set up for enduro back in 15, and that was probably the most fun I ever had.
Yeah.
Oh, so light, so heavy flywheel, heavy power valve springs, and the thing was like a tractor. He's banger into first gear and go up the side of a bloody cliff, but then you put that on a motocross track and it was absolutely rubbish to ride. I do love riding in the bush too, but it's so hard to, I guess, find places to do it now. And
Victoria is pretty good. Victoria's pretty good like that still. Where it's one thing, like the off-road accessibility to off-road. Well, at the moment it's always ever changing. But it's not bad, and the rec registration that we have is really good thing. That's really cool. Like, so like you can, you know, like I've got the kit still sitting on the shelf here for my YZ that the boys at WBR hooked me up with. It's it's just, you know, headlight, tail light, horn. I think is all it is.
Yeah,
and then you whack a plate on and then you basically just, it gives you, the main thing is it gives you you got your TAC insurance, so you sort of your ass is covered.
We I don't think we have anything like that. Like, you just have to have a fully registered bike.
Vic is good like that, because then you can have a motocross bikes basically, or just a lot of dudes just get, you know, like the X models. You know, nearly every brand has like an X model now, don't they? So, so you get one of those, and they've already got the side stand and a couple of bits and pieces like that. But that's the go, man. All right, dude. Let's wrap it up. Hey, I don't know if you cross the Kenny Rogers at the end of the show, man, but I know your dad's a country singer, so there's a good chance that you know the words to Kenny Rogers the Gambler. But the outro music is a little bit of Kenny, and it's just me knocking it out. So if you know the words, you're more than welcome to join in, man. So. Mate,
if I could breathe out of my nose, I probably would. But nobody wants to hear me try and sing when I can't breathe.
Hey, the Dazzle's not there, is he? You get the Dazzle just poking away.
No, he's not here. He'd probably get the guitar out for you and sing out.
Yeah. And I'll just shut up because he'd be better than me. So.
He's better than me too, mate. There's one thing, I didn't get the singing gene from him or the playing the guitar gene.
I've never heard him play. I'll look forward to it at some stage. Well, he'll have to.
Spoiler alert for you.
Yeah.
If you make my wedding, you'll get to see him there. So
very good. That sounds good, man.
Spoiler for you to what you're receiving on the weekend. But
okay, that sounds good.
Put that on the pod for everyone to find out. But if you go there, you'll get a thing, because it's pretty cool. Because obviously I've been married once before, but he wasn't really singing back then. So this time, obviously, he got well into it, got back into it, should I say. And so he's going to sing our first dance song. So pretty cool to have him. Yeah, pretty cool to have him a part of like the wedding in a big way like that.
That's really cool.
Not only being dad and doing all this stuff, but getting him to showcase it. So he's a man of many talents, that guy. So I didn't get too many of them off him. So
Well, you can ride faster though, can't you?
I can, yeah. I don't know if that came from him or if that just came from. I guess I got the hard work gene off him because again, I talked about this on the weekend with a few couple of guys. So I know I have no talent. I just worked my backside off to ride a dirt bike. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I probably got that from him, which is a good trait to have. But yeah, didn't get all the other cool singing and stuff. Would have been nice to be able to serenade a lady with a guitar and a voice, Steve. Much like you when you used to send us in those cool little songs you'd put together.
on the Moto Limit show.
You
That was
did,
good. I still have I've done a couple of things just not just informally just to make the guys at Moto main event Moto laugh and that sort of thing.
you need to start putting them on here. I know you like your outro with Kenny
Yeah.
Rogers again, but I think what you need to do is I think you need to write one each time with a with a bunch of
about
stuff.
something topical.
Yeah,
I
topical come
forget.
out.
Yeah, every now and again, someone will bring up something that happened like in 2019 or whenever
Yeah.
we were doing that. And then it'll be like, I remember writing a song about that, and
Yeah.
and a little bit comes back to me, and it makes me laugh. So
I think I still have a couple of
you
them
would have,
like
yeah.
saved.
And I'd have them somewhere, like they'd be somewhere on a hard drive where I've dumped my phone on a hard drive because I used to just do it into me, sing it into my phone because I didn't have any of this set up back then. It was like I'd sit in the ute because the acoustics were kind of better in the ute and sing into my phone.
Yeah.
But I always got funny things like that coming into my crazy creative brain.
I still have the old soundboard thing with all the drops and everything
Oh
for
yeah,
the podcast. So
the voice messages and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, that was. I think the first song I did was the Stilly one, wasn't it? The first song I did was the Stilly one, the Eye of the Tiger, Eye of the Stilly. That was.
Nah, I'm trying to look. There's a couple here, but there's not your. Yeah. It's none of your say, but there's I listened to a few of them. I was like, oh, geez, that brings back some nostalgia. So I'll have to keep going. But no, man, I appreciate you having me on here. And I said it'd been cool to see you to get to 83 of these shows from. They said we're just talking about it from when you were sending us funny stuff, and you still do obviously with main event and doing everything that you do. So it's cool to see you get to this point. And, continue to grow the platform you got here. And as I said, I've been enjoying seeing you at the races. That's been
I've been enjoying going, man.
And that's the thing. Like how much you get into detail with your listeners and stuff here. Like, I don't think they would probably appreciate how big an undertaking that is for you to do that. And and as I said, like, we had a discussion about it privately and my thoughts on what you should be doing and what we did at a point. And it's cool that you're putting the time and effort in and showing that you're wanting to be a part of the bigger picture of the sport. So it's been cool. We get to see you this weekend, and then
that's it, man.
You got to figure out your Queensland run, mate, when you're coming up. And you got to have to. There's a few people fighting for the bed here at.
That's one where I'm easy pleased, man. I'll take a couch. I'll take a bit of floor, man. Like I'm real easy to please. I'm one of these people that's lucky enough I can sleep in. I can sleep anywhere except for a damn airplane.
Yeah, me too.
I can't do that, which pisses me off.
Yeah,
I could sleep. I could sleep in a tornado, man. Like noise.
Yeah.
If I'm noisy, uncomfortable, anything, like I'm good, I'll go to sleep. But on an airplane, no chance.
Nah, we got plenty of places here, but I'm gonna have to learn on an airplane this weekend because we got the red eye out of Melbourne to get home. So she's gonna be a rough week. So hopefully I can shake this sickness and I don't sound horrible for the weekend. And then we're gonna get through this weekend and good weekend of racing, and then probably suffer next week from the lack of sleep. But man, I wouldn't change it for the world, that's for sure.
Cool, man. All right, let's get into some Kenny. So I handed him my bottle, and he drank down my last swallow. Then he bummed a cigarette and asked me for a light. And the night got deathly quiet, and his face lost all expression. Said, if you're going to play the game, boy, you got to learn to play it right. You got to know when to hold 'em, know when to fold 'em, know when to walk away, know when to run. You never count your money. When you're sitting at the table, there'll be time enough for counting when the dealing's done. Trent Maher, thank you very much for coming on Show 83, dude. I'll see you on the weekend.
Thanks, man. I'm never going against you in a singing battle, mate. That was awesome.
Cheers, man. Thanks for your time.